Hi, this is Mike Elliott, and you're watching the Cannabis Financial Network. In this segment, we will be talking with Mr. Chris Walsh, editor of MMJBusinessDaily.com. Good afternoon, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Real quick, could you give us an overview of the current state of the medical marijuana business climate?
Yeah, the medical marijuana industry has really gone through an immense change in the last year, pretty much ever since the November elections, when Colorado and Washington state legalized recreational marijuana. Since then, is what you saw as a renewed interest by some investors and corporations that were kind of waiting on the sidelines to see how everything was going to play out. So particularly in the last couple months, you now have some Wall Street types that are looking at this industry as a serious investment. You have angel investors and venture capitalists trying to determine if this is a viable opportunity. And you have lots of businesses that are starting to crop up around the country. Now, there's still a very significant legal risk that is keeping a lot of business people at bay, and they're kind of going to remain on the sidelines until we see what the federal government does. But in general, the climate has really improved significantly and noticeably in the past year.
And how are companies balancing the federal and state laws in a way that minimizes or avoids conflicts?
Well, what we're really seeing is a lot of people are getting involved on what they call the ancillary side of the marijuana industry. And these are the businesses that don't actually handle cannabis. So we're not talking retail pot shops or dispensaries or cultivation sites. We're talking people that are developing software for inventory control, maybe smoking devices, or all the type of things that a business in the industry would need, kind of the types of services and products you'd see in any other industry. People are trying to cater that to the medical marijuana and the recreational marijuana industries. So that's how a lot of people are trying to balance this, the fact that it's federally illegal. The people that are actually handling the plant are hitching their wagons entirely to the state laws and hoping that the feds don't come knocking. And over the last couple months, we've actually seen some signs that the feds are going to lay off marijuana businesses that are complying with state rules. So that's very positive for the industry.
And what significant changes, if any, do you see for the medical marijuana industry headed into 2014?
Well, we're quickly approaching the point where half the states in the whole country will have some type of medical marijuana law. We're in the low 20s right now, so theoretically in the next year or two, we could hit that magic 25 number. And why that is important is because some people feel that once half the nation has passed medical marijuana laws, that we will actually see real change at the federal level. Next year, you're going to see numerous states try and enact medical marijuana and recreational marijuana laws. And we wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple states join on either side next year.
And next, I want to talk a little bit about public companies and how they've been getting involved. So from where you've been in what you've observed, how have public companies become involved in the market? So far, it seems many of them are quite volatile, and they're not yet operating on the production or retail side of the business, as you kind of mentioned earlier. But do you see them getting more involved?
Yeah, right now the climate with public companies is all of them are what you call penny stocks, and so they are, as you said, very volatile, and they're subject to huge swings in either direction based on some event or even sometimes a press release. So right now, a lot of professional investors aren't really taking the industry seriously on the publicly traded company side. But you will see in the next year or two these companies start to mature and develop. One or two have, all of them currently trade on the pink sheets over-the-counter market, but you do have some with designs of growing into the NASDAQ or the American Stock Exchange. But it's a given that eventually you'll see a major medical marijuana or marijuana company in general on Wall Street trading at fairly high levels. It might take some time, but these companies are really working through their business models now, and there's only so much you can do when the product you focus on or providing services to is illegal federally.
And how do you think big tobacco companies will be affected by the changing regulation? Do you think they have an active interest in the marijuana industry, and are you aware of any signs of this interest?
Well, you can bet if there's billions of dollars at stake, tobacco is going to be interested, as are the pharmaceutical companies. So a lot of people in the industry now are fearful that that will happen one day, that big tobacco will kind of come in and take over the entire industry. I'd say that's a possibility down the road. You got to imagine that big tobacco is going to follow the money, and we estimate the market to be, about $1.5 billion right now, growing to up to $6 billion in a couple of years. Those are very attractive numbers. So, whether it's big tobacco or pharmaceutical companies, major players in the business world are going to try and tap this market. We haven't really seen too much overt interest yet. Again, no company is going to take the plunge until there is change at the federal level. They've built their brands and reputation, and they don't want it destroyed because they started, delving into an industry that is illegal. But yes, down the road, especially federal change, you can bet that big tobacco is probably going to try and move into this sphere.
And Chris, that's all the questions we had for today. Were there any comments you wanted to add before we close?
Basically pay close attention to this industry over the next year or two, because, there's people say that it'll be the next great American industry to rival automobiles and high tech. We're a little skeptical, but when you look at the market potential, if this is legalized on a national level, which it looks like it could be one day in our lifetimes, you have to come to the assumption that this is going to be a giant industry with billions and billions of dollars in revenue. So it's an exciting time to watch this unfold.
Chris, thanks for taking the time to join us and share your knowledge and insights.
Sure, thank you. Appreciate it.
We've been talking with Mr. Chris Walsh. He's the editor of MMJBusinessDaily.com. Thank you for watching.